أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد أرسلنا رسلنا بالبينات وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب والميزان ليقوم الناس بالقسط. صدق الله العظيم.
ميم صاد كتاب أنزل إليك فلا تكن في صدرك حرج منه لتنذر به وذكرى للمؤمنين اتبعوا ما أنزل إليكم من ربكم ولا تتبعوا من دونه أولياء قليلا ما تذكرون. صدق الله العظيم. With the blessing of Allah, we are beginning our study of Surah Al-A'raf. I told you that these two surahs go to make a pair of Makki surahs, Al-An'am, Al-A'raf. Now this Al-A'raf is the largest surah, Makki surah in the Qur'an. It consists of 206 ayat and 24 sections. Although there is one Makki surah, that is Surah, which consists of a greater number of ayat, 227. But the ayat in Surah Shura are very small. So that those 227 ayat go to make only 11 sections. And if you compare the volume of the two, the volume of this Surah Al-A'raf is 2.5 times more than that of Surah Al-Shura. So this is the biggest and the largest Makki surahs. Now what is the relationship between these two surahs? Pair. If two things are a pair, there must be some similarities. And there must be some difference also. Where those two things become complementary to each other. So you will find that we have read, the whole of Surah Al-An'am. Mention has only been made in somewhat detail of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Neither of Nuh, nor of Hud, nor of Saleh, nor for that matter of Lut or Moses, etc., etc. Because, these are the Amba'ur Rusul. Amba'ur Rusul, Naba means a very important news. Amma yatasaloon anin naba'il azim allazi hum fihi mukhtalifun. Naba, a very big news. So the big news of the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Amba'ur Rusul. What are those news? That a prophet, a messenger was sent to such and such nation. They belied him, not believed in him. They were destroyed. This story repeated many a time in the Quran. Nuh, Hud, Saleh, Lut, then Shu'aib and Moses. 6 messengers of Allah are repeatedly quoted and, referred to in the Quran. You will find in Surah A'raf, in the chronological order, in the historical sequence, the mention of these 6 messengers of Allah. As for Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, it is never given in the Quran that some such punishment came to the people of Ibrahim. It appears that he is the climax of the prophethood. To nations where prophets were living, if the nations didn't believe in the prophet, no punishment came to them. The king at the time of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, he didn't believe in him. And the whole of the Egyptians, they didn't believe in Jesus, that he is the prophet of Allah. But still, the attitude was different. The messenger, whenever he came, he said, Ati'ullah, U'budullah wa ati'un. You have to do worship to Allah, and you have to obey me. This is the call of all the messengers. But the prophets, they might be living like, awliya Allah, but the only difference between a waliullah and a nabi is that to the nabi, wahi was coming, revelation was coming. To the awliya Allah, to Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, And for that matter, other awliya Allah of this Muslim Ummah, Wahi didn't come. But they were very pious people. So much good spread from their personalities in their society. So actually, prophets are more resembling the awliya. The only difference is that revelations were coming to them. But messengers are a different category. They represent Allah. They come and demand, believe me, obey me. You have to obey me. Ani'budullah wa ati'un. You have to obey me. We have read, in Surah An-Nisa, obedience to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا لِيُطَاعَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. We have sent no Rasul, no messenger, but that he should be obeyed. وَمَن يُطِعِ الرَّسُولَ فَقَدْ أَطَاعَ اللَّهَ. Whosoever obeys the messenger, he actually obeys Allah. So we find in this Surah Araf the story of 6 of the messengers of Allah to whose nations the severest punishment came. Azabul istisal. Quti'a dabirul qawmi allazina zalamu. When their roots were cut, when they were all annihilated, except the few who came to believe in the messenger. But no such thing appeared in Surah Al-An'am. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, although he was himself muwahhid, but what happened to his nation? Even though he was thrown in fire by the nation. But only a slight reference at one point, but not in that way. So actually this is a point in which these two surahs come close to each other. That this subject is more dealt with in Surah Al-Araf. And at-tazkir bi-a'la'illah. Allah's blessings, Allah's bounties, Allah's creation. All these things are more discussed in Surah Al-An'am, we have read. And this, Allah's punishment. Messengers coming, and if the nations don't accept them, then the dire consequences, they are more detailed, discussed in Surah Al-Araf. Alif, Lam, Mim, Sad, these are the alphabets which are pronounced separately, Huruf Muqatta'at, separately. And nobody knows the exact meanings. There are so many conjectures. Nothing has been, given to us by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also. So we can't say. There are certain opinions, but in this rapid translation, there is no time for the discussion of these things. Kitabun unzila ilayka fala yakun fi sadrika harajun minhu. O Muhammad, this is the book, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which has been sent down to you. Fala yakun